Hi, it's Carl here for ProAV TV, and today I'm going to run you through 5 reasons why Canon's XC10 could be worth a look for you. Okay, so the first thing to talk about is the lens. It's a 24 to 240mm f2.8 to f5.6. And although it's a built-in lens, it feels more like a small light DSLR lens rather than a servo-based camcorder lens. Now I love this, probably because I'm used to DSLRs and interchangeable lens cameras. That's just the background I come from. And this lens feels like Canon's photographic lenses when you zoom. So for me, it feels familiar and comfortable in my hands. Now the manual focus is accurate, but it's a bit slow to respond and use manually. The camera is definitely designed to be used in autofocus mode, which is easy and simple to use. So you can let the camera do all the work, or you can use the touchscreen to select and track your subject, which works well too. So I'd be willing to bet that the majority of the customer base for this camera are going to want files which look good straight out of the camera, ready to edit quickly and easily with no grading required. And the XC10 can definitely achieve this. We have a standard gamma profile and the familiar EOS standard profile, both of which give you great looking images with no work required to them in post-production. And perfect for quick turnaround projects like journalism, blogging, things like that. And just for those projects where you don't want the extra work of grading your image in post. However, it is also great to see that Canon have decided to include their flatter gamma settings here, the fantastic wide DR profile and their log implementation C-Log. Now these come from their cinema line of cameras like the C100 behind me, the 1DC and the C300, and are well worth using if your post-production workflow allows for it. As a C100 owner myself, I mostly shoot in C-Log. I think it's one of the best looking and easiest to use log implementations around at the moment. And so it's fantastic to see it on one of Canon's lower priced video cameras. It means that C100 and C300 users could easily use the XC10 as a small light B camera, and it's a very welcome addition. Now this is a big benefit to the XC10, which really sets it apart from its competition, because this is a small and light handheld camera. It's designed to be used out and about, not always with a tripod. And because of this, image stabilization is absolutely key. I've heard several professionals say that the image stabilization on this camera is the main reason they bought it in the first place. It works really well, and it means that you can shoot handheld and actually make use of that long zoom range. If you're careful, you can shoot right out at 240mm without using a tripod. So I found the best way to use it was to use the included loop, push the camera right up against your eye while holding it under the lens with your left hand and holding the grip with your right. This keeps the camera as steady as possible with 3 contact points against the body, and the image stabilization does the rest. Here are a couple of quick test shots showing the same handheld shots with the stabilization on and off, and it's clear to see why this is a major selling point for this camera. So the XC10 is a small camera. It's smaller and lighter than a 5D is. If you're traveling or you're working by yourself, that is a big deal. So the batteries are normal Canon LPE6 batteries, which last a decent amount of time, and they're small. So you can stick a few in your pocket and definitely manage a whole day's worth of shooting. In fact, you could fit your entire camera package in one small backpack or something similar, meaning that this is really easy camera to travel with. So on the side here we have a rotatable hand grip, which is really nice, and it makes a big difference when you're shooting video. It means you can hold it securely when you're doing high or low shots. With so many cameras, when you get high or low, you have to end up holding the camera with your fingertips, which obviously isn't ideal. It's great to be able to get a really secure hand grip on the side. The tiltable screen on the back is good. It's a high quality panel, it's a touch screen, and it's really easy to clear to see what you're shooting. This is the kind of camera which can stay in your hand all day, no matter where you are or what you are doing, which is not really something I can say for my C100, even though that's still a small camera in the big scheme of things. Canon have a history of making video cameras with fantastic image quality. The images you get straight from their cameras are one of the main reasons that people love them, and the XC10 does not disappoint at all. All the normal Canon color science we love is here, plus you get 4K UHD recording, which actually makes this Canon's cheapest 4K camera yet. Technically, it actually outperforms the C100 Mark II behind me in terms of colour space, as the XC10 can record 422 colour, whereas the C100 records 420 internally. The 4K records at 305 megabits a second and has been approved for broadcast, which really expands the uses for this camera. Broadcast quality 4K in such a small portable package is a really big deal. Now it does have a smaller sensor, and so that has its own inherent look to it, but you can still get shallow depth of field when you want it. The 4K images look detailed without being over sharp, and I think they have a really nice quality to them. I filmed for a few hours with the camera at our local zoo, and I decided to do the shoot all handheld and all using shutter priority auto exposure mode. Now normally I don't like to use auto exposure options on cameras, but I wanted to try it out on the XC10 as I thought that good auto functions could be a big advantage to the customer base of this camera, and I was really quite surprised at the results. Now I filmed in C-Log as it was a contrasty day with harsh sunlight, and I didn't mind taking the time to do a simple grade. I was prepared to have to correct the exposure of the camera on the majority of the shots, but it was actually very rare that the camera made a mistake with the exposure. Nearly every shot was correctly exposed, and there was only one shot that I wanted to use in the final edit where I wished I'd used manual exposure for it. You can see here in this shot of the tigers playing that the exposure changes as I move the camera, which is a shame, but that's just a general drawback of using auto exposure and not a fault of this specific camera. Now the C-Log was really easy to grade. I just added a simple contrast and saturation boost to the footage and it was ready to go. I'll try and upload as much example footage as I can to this channel so that you can make up your own mind about how well the camera performs. But if there's anything in particular we are missing which you'd like to see, please do let us know. So that was the 5 features that impressed me most with the XC10 from Canon. But what do you think of the camera? I try my best to reply to the comments on these videos, so please do get involved and start a conversation. I'd be really interested to hear people's thoughts on this camera, particularly if you've bought one or if you have experience using it. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to ask me in the comments below, or just if you prefer, give us a call, speak to one of our team here at the office. Thanks for watching, and make sure you subscribe for more videos.